Just to
How
walk
you
around.
doing, all? Feel good? Really good. Roma said that John Lonnie Jr. Zora must be destroyed! That's Jay. And that's Spencer.
I'm Quentin. I'm a freelance artist and an illustrator. I had a whole bio script and then you did it, so I'm not going to do it now.
You'll get a chance. We'll get it done.
Okay, so what I wanted to do was to just for some of you who aren't as familiar, I just want to go through a few slides to show you what's going on with Ultraman these days. So flip it over. You'll have to look past us. Go to the next slide, Anthony. Okay. Just to let you know, Ultraman was created by Tsuburaya as a way to look away from the past, which had been dark for Japan for some time, and look toward a much brighter future. So the counter to Godzilla is Ultraman. Ultraman, a positive future, a technology positive future, but also a future filled with courage, hope, and kindness. Next slide. Ultraman is a franchise. There are dozens of television series. There are over 1,500 episodes. There are, they perfected this notion of tokusatsu, the ability to create practical special effects to cast the illusion of giants and giant monsters amidst miniature cities. In my day, you had to go to the movies to see Godzilla and the Toho kind of giant monsters. Tsuburaya, through Tsuburaya Productions, managed to create those illusions for television, which was a miracle at the time, and truly, for me, life-saving and astounding. Next. So there are three, as some of us know, three eras or epochs of Ultraman. There is, take us through them, EJ?
We have the classic series starting in 1966 with Ultra Q, the predecessor to what would become Ultraman, up until around Ultraman 80 in 1980. And then the series roared back to life in 1996 with Ultraman Tiga, and that started Generation 2, which lasted until, it's a little complicated, a little nebulous there, but either Ultraman Mebius in 2006 or Mega Monster Battle in 2007. We get our fun interstitial with Ultraman Zero in 4 years. We are a month targeting to also celebrate his 15th anniversary. So 15 years ago, Ultraman Zero made a new generation of Ultraman happen that has persisted to this very day with the currently airing Ultraman arc.
Next slide, Anthony. Is Anthony there? Oh, he has one.
What's y'all's favorite Ultraman?
I know Ultraman Tiga!
Next slide.
Tiga!
Gaia!
Tiga and Rising!
Okay.
And now today.
Today, this has been an incredible year for Ultraman. The midpoint, a true highlight with the Netflix feature animated film Ultraman Rising. How many of you have seen that? And listen, this is evidence, as far as I'm concerned, of how we are able to express our love for Ultraman and work with Americans. Right? Because the true spirit of Ultraman manifested in Ultraman Rising and displayed the love that all of the filmmakers and all of us at Ultraman Connection and Tsuburaya productions have for Ultraman, even if it's going to manifest in Hollywood. So, 3 cheers for Ultraman Rising. Next slide. We at Starlight Runner are fond of a term called transmedia storytelling. The notion that a single world manifests itself across multiple media platforms in unique ways. It all kind of comes together to create a kind of symphonic narrative. The universe of Ultraman is a kind of multiverse, but they are anchored by elements like the land of light and by certain ultras who are capable of traversing all of these different dimensions. Next slide. Who was in Times Square in the last night? Who was there? You have yourselves a treat, because those ultras were not supposed to be fighting last night in Times Square. Supposed to be
When
fighting
Zero and
here.
Rebellion meet, they always
fight. They
Oh, where's
always
Blazar? Where's Blazar?
Blazar was last year.
Blazar was last year, and Blazar is fantastic. That's a beautiful shot. Next slide. Okay, so if you haven't already, we'd love for you to come to ultramanconnection.com and register. When you register, you get a weekly newsletter, and of course access to all the news about Ultraman and what's happening in the universes of Ultraman. Next.
It's worth mentioning that it's free. There's no cost for signing up for it, so.
That's absolutely correct, Splenda. It's all free.
Totally free!
Next slide, Anthony. So right now, Ultraman Arc is really getting cooking, right? Something's going on. It started out all innocent and such, but I think we have a serious situation and a serious challenge that Arc will be facing in the second half of the season. Talk to us a little bit, EJ, about Arc.
I would be happy to. It might be one of, if not my favorite new gen series yet. What was initially, and is still in so many ways, this beautiful series about imagination and embracing imagination to create something wonderful, took us on a genuinely heartbreaking ride for about 7 episodes. I don't know if you guys were watching the same episodes I was, but I was coming away with tears in my eyes. And then, last week, we were introduced to Swede, a mysterious woman from Arc's home galaxy. And in fact, we were introduced to Arc himself, aka Rutian. So, who here has not seen the last? Who here's not behind Ultraman? John, you don't count. We love you. So cover your ears, John. As you guys may know, because nobody else raised their hands, all you dedicated fans out there, Arc's home galaxy is in danger. Their star, Sonia, is expanding at a rapid rate and threatens to consume the entire galaxy. And so, one of the leaders of that galaxy, being known as Zesu, created the Zesu Gate, a series of wormholes that will send the energy of that sun to all different parts of the universe, keeping their own galaxy safe. Unfortunately, one of the exits of that gate is right outside Earth and threatens to completely annihilate it. So 16 years ago, a giant of light, Rutian, came to Earth and sealed the gate. And that was an incident called K-Day. Wow. Now since then, kaiju have been showing up. But Swede has returned to destroy the seal on the gate, destroy the Earth, and protect her own galaxy. Nobody is a strict bad guy, but things are difficult for everyone. And in a difficult situation, it's very easy to give up and choose the easiest option. But the point of imagination is that you can always think of something better. And so that's really what the show is about. And as the crisis around the Zesu Gate expands, we're going to see some really interesting stories told in the next couple of months. So stick with it.
There you go. Next slide. By the way, Ultraman Arc and several other Ultraman series have been dubbed in English by Ultraman, and they do it really, really well. We're so proud of the way.
So just so you guys know, Ultraman is made by the team who made a certain series about 7 magic balls that grant a wish. The original dub for that, or the Funimation dub for that, if you remember that. So they are a very talented group. Ultraman Arc specifically is starring Paul Castro Jr. as Yumahise, the lead actor. And Ultraman Blazar from last year, which I bet a bunch of you also watched, stars Johnny Young Bosch. So we are getting a killer's row of wonderful performers who know the work. And that's why it's so easy to keep partnering with them, because it's always good.
So there is an English language channel of Ultraman Official on YouTube, and then there is the Subarai's Ultraman Official channel, which runs the Japanese versions of the shows. Next slide. Right outside this door, you will encounter some Bandai. Bandai, of course, is now the master toy license in the United States for Ultraman. And we could not be more thrilled to see Ultraman toys at big box stores like Target and Walmart and so forth. It's just wonderful to see all that. Next slide, Anthony. And Mill Creek. Some of you who know that Mill Creek has been running the DVDs for quite some time, has renewed with us, and there are new Mill Creek DVDs coming out real fast.
So the next thing, and unfortunately it's been delayed by a little bit, but it's only been delayed because they're really making sure it's good, is Ultraman Blazar, which comes out now in November. I believe November 26th is the current. No, they moved it back a month because they wanted to make sure that there were no errors. They wanted to make sure it was a perfect release. And when I tell you, that is the first of a number of shows coming that I am not allowed to talk about, but I know everything about, and it haunts me every day to not be able to share because I have a labyrinth.
There was one leak earlier this summer, an animated feature. Isn't that right?
We cannot tell you exactly when, or at least I'm not allowed to, but Ultraman USA, aka Ultraman The Adventure Begins, the Hanna-Barbera Ultraman animated movie. One of his favorites, one of his absolute favorites. Yeah, exactly. Is coming to home release thanks to me. It does have a new dub. If you're a fan of Adrienne Barbeau, I apologize. I think there is one of the reasons why there's not a hard date yet is we are talking about what language tracks and what audio tracks will be on it. So I can't make any promises, but I guarantee Ultraman made one of their best dubs ever for that movie. So as much as I also love that original audio track for it, the original actors, the new ones are almost objectively better.
Hey, as long as they haven't changed the music.
No, still got
That's all I'm worried about.
Next slide.
we want to keep that score.
By the way, on the Blazar DVD, there will be the feature film.
Ultraman Blazar.
Some of the effects in that movie are pretty awesome. And
None of you have seen it yet.
that's right.
None of you.
No, absolutely
This is
not.
the first time it's getting an official release in an American
I
market
can't wait.
with a dub track by the classic.
Yes!
Yes, and by the way, I have one line in the movie. It's, hey, don't.
You have to actually hit it with a plank to get that.
I can't wait.
Marvel Comics, and I'm so thrilled with the Ultraman Marvel Comics. We're talking with Marvel about doing more. Go ahead, next slide. There have been 3 comic book series that are now complete. There's Ultraman Rising.
No, the Rise of Ultraman.
The Rise of Ultraman.
The Trials of Ultraman.
That's That's right.
And the mystery.
Ultra 7.
But there is.
There is another. Next slide. Ultraman Avengers. Ultraman Avengers takes place within the continuity of the other three miniseries. The Avengers crossover into the universe of Ultraman. They are actually forwarding the story a little bit, but what a thrill it has been to work with Marvel on this crossover. Next slide.
Before we continue, I just do want to say, I know all of y'all got social media. Y'all saw that picture of Ultraman stepping up to Galactus, right?
Yeah!
Every issue is that cool.
It's better with context.
It is better with context. Genuinely, it is better than the initial look. And it already looks great. But yes, we have the first two issues here.
Next slide. And there's Galactus.
That is like the first spread on issue 1.
It is really, really awesome. But actually, check out our reviews on Ultraman Connection. There's actually some touching stuff that he doesn't want to listen to reason and so forth. It's really, really cool stuff.
And as a secondary thing, I say this as a huge nerd, I wouldn't be up here otherwise. This has Spider-Man without Paul, and anyone who knows what Paul is knows that that is a very good thing. We have Miles and Peter together doing all sorts of fun stuff.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Okay, and who is the villain, EJ, from the Subaraya side?
The one who is serving Galactus is his new herald, the brother from another planet, Alien Zarab. He's... Oh,
That's okay. Keep
keep
going.
going.
Let's go. Next. And again, something that we are super thrilled to talk about is Ultraman Along Came a Spider-Man. Next slide. So cool. So cool. Ultraman in a Japanese manga. Spider-Man. Next slide. Okay. So watch for that on the Viz website, the Ultraman Along Came a Spider-Man manga. The actual physical manga is coming out the book next summer. It turned out to be very popular in Japan, which we're thrilled with. So now the reason we're all here at last is to talk about the Ultraman card game. What has been wonderful is that Subaraya Productions and the creators of the card game, which is an official Subaraya product, have invited American artists to join them by creating artwork for the trading cards. Our group, EJ and myself, eventually, and Carmen up front, we work with Starlight Runner, and we've been responsible for wrangling those artists because we come out of the comic book industry, and some of them are super awesome.
Wrangle them.
We wrangle them. What I want to do is ask everyone here, besides me and EJ, what is your experience with the world of Ultraman? Rudy, what's your history with Ultraman?
Well, when I was young, my mom introduced me to Ultraman. And I think that was one of the first superheroes that I saw. And the thing about Ultraman that was different from everyone else was like the three tenets, right? Courage, hope, kindness. And that really stuck with me. So that was my thing growing up. But unfortunately in Singapore, Ultraman disappeared for a little while until I joined back in Subaraya. And now I'm happy, and my mom's even happier that I'm with Subaraya as well. So that's my history of Ultraman. And I'm happy that I get to work on a trading card game so that you guys get to experience the world of Ultraman through the trading card game, because you are the protagonists of this story and you get to play Ultraman as well.
Your favorite Ultraman?
I'd have to say Laser.
Y'all know who I am. Let's move to Joe. Or Glenda, because you got the other first.
Oh no.
Yes.
So I was introduced to Ultraman from a very young age because I grew up in a kaiju heavy household.
Yeah.
And then it slowly, as I grew up, sort of ebbed away from it. And then my brother came home from a trip to Japan and said, "Hey, did you know they're still making this? And there's this rad dude named Ultraman Zero who's got this movie." And so I've sort of been with it ever since and just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper and doing more and more things with Ultraman.
That's great.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeff. I'm older than most of the people up here, but I got into Ultraman when I was like 4 years old, something like that. I just remember already being really heavily into Godzilla movies at that age. I don't know how I ever got into Godzilla. I have no memory of that. I just know I've always loved Godzilla. So one day in the late 70s, don't mean to age myself, but it was the 70s, my dad had me on his lap and was flipping through channels, and we came across giant monsters and explosions, and I was like, oh, yeah. And it was Ultraman on
The old TDS though, probably.
yeah, Channel 20 WXON Detroit, where I'm originally from. And ever since then, he's been one of my favorite things. My 3 favorite things that I can remember from before the age of 5 is Godzilla, Ultraman, and Gatchaman. Big fan ever since. But I also would like to add, I was also one of the only people to ever experience the Ultraman USA movie. The one time it aired in Detroit, I will never forget. It was the summer of 1987 because I was home that day, and I was still in the 80s. You always looked at the TV guide. Just happened to check for Ultraman, even though it had been years since it ever appeared in the TV guide. Saw Ultraman, The Adventure Begins, and I saw the Subaraya name, but then next to it, Hanna-Barbera, and I was like, what the hell is this? It's apparently on Friday at 1 in the afternoon. But thankfully it was summertime, so I was out of school, and I remember, I'll never forget, a bunch of friends from the neighborhood came over and was like, hey, let's go cause trouble. And I was like, nope, I'm taping the thing on TV right now. You can stay and watch if you want.
Ultraman saved his morality, folks.
Well, first of all, who's your favorite Ultraman? You never said.
If you make me choose one, I will fight you.
Oh,
Jeff?
I had 3. The original Ultraman, Ultra Zero, and Ultra Woman Beth.
Wow.
I can't help it.
John?
Whatever you guys are done, So I was like Jeff, obsessed with Godzilla and Japanese. All my friends like Star Wars growing up. I was like the weirdo that like Godzilla and Bruce Lee movies.
Yes.
Always obsessed. Yeah, because in New York they came on Channel 5, double feature, Godzilla movie and Kung Fu movie. So Bruce Lee and Godzilla like my idols growing up.
Hell yeah!
Exactly. So I'm gonna age myself. I was a kid, so I've been Godzilla fan since I was 5. I remember Ultraman Towards the Future. That was my first experience with Ultraman. So what was that, 91?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I was 11,
High school.
11 years old. And then it went away. I used to watch Grandma Bellotti stuff every Saturday. What is this guy? Because I love superheroes too. I always wanted to be a comic artist, but instead I do other things. So anyway, I love Ultraman, and it went away. Remember, this is the 80s into the early 90s. It was a dry spell here. I started reading Japanese fanzines, and they kept talking about Ultra 7, Ultra 7, Ultra 7. I'm like, it sounds dark, it sounds serious. They say it's the best one. It came on TNT. And I remember getting drunk with my friend, and we were in our 20s, and we would watch Ultra 7 on TNT. And then, what is this? And then I happened across some DVDs in Chinatown in New York. I'll tell you how I came across them.
Completely legal. No quick traveled from the past.
Completely legal. Chinatown back in the day was a haven for kaiju stuff because you couldn't get it mainstream, so you had to find other ways. But I sought it out because I was obsessed with this stuff. And then in around 2008, when the Mega Monster Battle movie came out,
I heard about Ultra 7. At this point, I watched Ultra 7, and I'm obsessed. It's like X-Files with superheroes. And when I discovered about he had a son, I'm like, whoa, he's got a kid? And then I watched Ultraman Zero on YouTube. I watched the movie, and I got into Mebius, Max, Nexus, watched them all. And then when they started releasing, the official ones at Crunchyroll, I got into Gaia, and that was it. My wife was in college. I was watching 2 episodes a night, binging Gaia and Nexus, and I never looked back.
As a quick side note, I will say, he had a son was the exact reaction that Ultra 7 also.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Now, who's the mom?
We love Ultra 7.
I always Google who's the mom, but my favorite, 7, 0, Agul. There you go. Oh yeah, Saturday night, 100 nights of Ruby. Isn't that wonderful that the artists who are working on the cards for America are Ultraman fans? I mean, you can't get more real than this. Okay, Rudy, can you tell us a little bit about the game? What is the format? Next slide. The format. Talk to us about basically how the game works.
Okay, so the great thing about the game is that it's simultaneous turns. So instead of turn 1, turn 2 kind of thing, both players go at the same time. And I think the key thing here is that the game is super easy to pick up. I can do a demo for you guys later if you like, and I believe I can teach you in under 10 minutes. But there's a depth of complexity that you won't see in the beginning, but the more you play the game, the more complex it gets. So, we have a wide range of people that we're targeting here. Even we're planning to have tournaments for children under 12. We'll have a category for that as well. We have open tournaments for the more competitive players at the same time. And I don't know how to say this, but I'm not much of a TCG player myself. But when I first played this game, I was super excited. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the cards like EJ has for some reason. For some reason. But with the latest booster, I think everyone's got something to look forward to. And we're going to run tournaments and all that kind of stuff starting in November. So I hope everybody will partake.
When is the release date?
The release date for SD01 and SD02 is 25th October.
So
and
next
the first, next Friday. Next Friday, really soon. And the first booster releases 8th November.
Where do you buy them?
Oh, any card stores, yeah.
There are lots of places. Really, any place that sells like Japanese games. If you've played any of those style of games before. Yeah, but even in the city, like you can go to Chinatown. There are shops in Chinatown that carry the game.
Well, I understand there will be at some comic shops and regular hobby shops where you would find Magic and other trading card games. Next slide. Yeah, we have a dilemma here, unfortunately, when it comes to John. Because John, we really wanted to show you John's card art, but we cannot. John actually created card art, but it turns out that card is very special, and we cannot show it because it's going to have its own debut later. Now these cards, the cards that the American artists participated in, they don't come out next week. They come out starting I think in January. Is it set 2? Yeah. Sorry about that. But so what you're seeing today is a real preview, and no one has seen this art before. I'm telling you, and no one will see John's art. But it's an honor, actually, John, and we thank you for that art and for being patient with us for not being able to show it.
I see it.
But we do want to let you know that John's Robo 7 is right outside the door, and there's some art that goes on the T-shirts and so forth.
There's his style.
That's his style.
Don't buy his shirts when you leave.
But John, briefly, talk to us generically about your experience with working directly for Subaraya on this project.
Just the card art, right? Not
Yeah,
the shirts.
the card art.
The shirts are whole. Yeah. Well, the card art is interesting because I never really got into card gaming before. I'm sorry. I know of it, but it was just never something I was experienced with. But what I like about it, as you see with my art, I go big or go home. I can't just draw one thing. The card art was kind of a relief because, you know, I don't have to draw that many characters. I could draw just one, and I could put all of my artistic energy into one portrait, as opposed to 57, whatever I draw on any given day. You know, it's like any other process when you work with a licensed property. It's, here's my sketch, and you guys know, here's my sketch. Okay, what do you think of it? Here's, no, several sketches, I'm sorry, and then you approve the one. Let's see it, you know, inked out, so here's the inks, okay, here's the color, looks good, move on to the next thing. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's really not rocket science.
That's great. That's great. All right, next slide.
Oh, Jeff, sorry.
Who is that, Jeff? Who is that?
So I got to do Ultraman Gaia. I've never actually watched that entire series. But, like I said, I was an OG in the 70s. I've seen the entire original Ultraman and Ultra 7. And I've seen most of Ultra Zero-ish. But, I saw part of Tiga. Like, the 90s was a weird time. I was in college. There was a lot of drugs.
Jeff, focus on the art.
Anyway. In the 90s, we were worried about the last episode of Giant Robo the animation, alright? Anyways, yeah, it was just an absolute honor to be involved. I am a card game player from back in the day. I used to play fucking Pokemon. It was a fun game because it's a simpler version of Magic. But so I was very familiar with how card art is made. The project was brought to me. I was super on board because I had done Ultraman officially before in like 2019, I think it was, or before that. Subaraya did some pop-up shops in Hong Kong and asked me to do 2 illustrations that I would sign and number that they would sell at these stores in Hong Kong, and that was literally when they were released, the month that all those riots took place. So it was crazy. I assumed they sold out. I don't know. But they came back to me then to do this, and I was super happy to do it. And like I said, I did Gaia.
That's it. Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Next slide. What's beautiful about this is that we are encouraging our artists to truly express themselves as themselves, and it's so wonderful that Subaraya is allowing for this in the card art. Glenda, tell us about this piece.
Ooh, yeah, so you know it's great when they introduce your art style as being unique? But no, art is very quickly becoming one of my favorite ultras of all time, and I already told you how hard a thing that is to choose. But what really struck me about art specifically is that it's based on the creativity of being a child. And I remember when I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do, and one of my first memories of doing art, was sitting with my siblings and designing superheroes, and drawing them and working out what their powers were, and what they looked like, and what stuff they used. And so watching art as an adult, I was like, wait, that's me! That's me for real. And so I really wanted to bring back that idea of like, art is the product of creativity used kindly, because that's what empathy is. And so I wanted to do something that sort of evokes that idea of being creative and coming to life, because that's what art does. That's what I hope I do with my art. And that's what Ultraman's about.
Glenda, what is that art style? What medium were you using?
So I use mostly watercolor. I like to call the style fantastical realism, where it's based and grounded in realism, but it's also got like this sort of heightened level to it, which honestly is a bit like Ultraman, where it's shot through the medium of tokusatsu, which is just what's captured with the camera, but it's heightened by being just a little bit more. It's about something extraordinary. It's presenting something extraordinary in an ordinary way. So that's what I hope to do. And I felt like watercolor was a really good medium for Ultraman because it's very luminous, and Ultras are made of light, so it felt very fit.
Can you, by the way, briefly tell our friends how Ultraman Connection first discovered Splendid V?
You just wanted me to show this off.
Yes.
This is Tartarus. This is Tartarus. This is Tartarus. This was made by my friend over there. I have been fairly involved in the Ultraman fan community for a little while. I've done fan art for them. We had a whole thing about the kaiju combat situation and that whole mess. But in, I believe, 2021, was it?
Yeah.
Then there was when we were still having the Ultraman Connection live events, where we would have like a live streamed stage show event and some live stuff hosted by Sean White. And we would have, oh goodness, one Christmas of 2021, Tartarus took over the live stream, and previously had observed the character and been like, that sure is well designed. And he revealed that he would be answering questions posted in the chat.
Oh.
And so a bunch of people started putting in meme answers like, how much do you bench? What is your skincare routine? How are you so hot? And so I put in the chat thinking, surely he will not observe this. Why are you so handsome? No! Now the thing about this is, how badly am I allowed to roast you right now?
Go ahead, do it.
I might have put her comment directly in front of him.
So the thing is, Tartarus actually answered 3 replies. One made him look stupid. It was about like, how do you feel about getting absolutely bodied by Jonius and looked like an idiot? One was he read a literal keyboard smash out loud, which is still the funniest thing that I think I've ever seen because his pronunciation was immaculate.
Yeah, mostly consonants, got it all perfect.
It was beautiful. It was a work of art. Beautiful voice acting.
And then
And then he replied to that one, and he said, Glenda, you have potential. You must feel lonely on the, you must feel lonely on this planet full of men of light believers. You are always welcome to the kingdom.
he asked her out on stream.
Absolute Tartarus, one of the most powerful villains ever faced by the Ultraman.
Well, absolutely.
And we monsters at Ultraman Connection have never let her forget.
The fact that so many Super IF employees have addressed me as, oh, the Tartarus, but I'm just So I decided I needed to own the brand, so now, he's mine now, I think. I'm not sure.
He's got a bag of little figures of you as well in the kingdom.
He doesn't pay for them, he just steals them.
Next slide. So, unfortunately, he could not make it here. He lives in Italy. Francesco Manna, who is the artist on Ultraman Avengers and other Ultraman Marvel comics, was invited to create Baltan for the card game. And that is the first view of this artwork ever. So, a round of applause. Let's all say Francesco. Next slide. Okay, so tomorrow we're having at New York Comic Con. There's going to be a wonderful panel. Who's on it, EJ?
I can read them off and tell you. The host is Christopher Sean, aka the voice of Ken Sato from Ultraman. And he is hosting a killer's row of creators and performers and wonderful people. Paul Castro Jr., the voice of Yuma Hise, lead character of Ultraman Art. Kyle Higgins and Matt Bruton were the writers of all of the Marvel Ultraman. Shigeru Matsumoto, who is the writer for Ultraman Along Came a Spider-Man, straight from Japan. And finally, the legendary Art Adams.
Yeah, boy, was he not easy to get. Wow. For the artwork. We're going to unveil his artwork on Sunday. Next slide. We're going to wrap this up and then take questions if you like. Just a reminder that Ultraman is for kids, but for some of us, we stay kids a little bit in our hearts, don't we? And there's something aspirational. Ultraman is about the power of bonds. They help one another with their energy, with their light force, and we have seen many instances where the belief and faith and commitment of human beings allow for ultras to get back up again, to stand and face the challenges that they face. So thank you, everyone. Next slide, for joining us. Jump into the sky. We love our fans, and everybody, sue us! Q&A.
I have a question.
Sure, what's up, bud?
Is there any chance a new generation Gaia will happen?
Will new generation Gaia happen? Well, the thing is that Gaia was always kind of separate from the rest of the TDG trilogy, and that sort of look back at that era kind of concluded with Decker, I would say. We're doing very novel, interesting new concepts now. We've had Blazar, which is a huge divergence from the previous Ultraman series, and Arc, which kind of references that classic period, 60s to the 80s, without directly being the same thing, telling new stories. I personally am a lot more interested in new stuff. I don't think, and y'all can go weird, you can't do Gaia again.
No.
Like, Gaia is basically perfect.
Yeah.
There's a real conversation.
However, you can see many of the Ultras in Ultra Galaxy Fight.
Yes.
So they do show up, so keep an eye out. Someone else? Yeah.
So I have a question for the artist. So what do you find more difficult to draw? The Ultras or the kaiju? And then also, what's your favorite kaiju?
Ooh, nice. Good question.
Kaiju are always going to be harder to draw because they have more detail, as opposed to ultras, which are just a body shape and then red and silver, maybe some gold, some blue, and then a head crest. But yeah, the kaiju are always going to be the more difficult because they're so original, and especially the aliens from Subaraya, where you can't even tell what part is the eye, what part is the mouth, you know.
So I'm the opposite. I hate, I'm using the word hate, capital H, drawing anything mechanical. Okay? So Ultras look very mechanical. And it just takes me, like Ultraman Zero with his arm, with that detail.
Yeah.
Weeks. Oh. That's another one. That's another one. Kaiju I can whip out in like a few hours.
No one likes drawing Mechagodzilla is the answer.
I don't.
Do you like Brightest Avenger?
What's your favorite?
My favorite kaiju?
Favorite Ultraman kaiju.
Dude, he's on my shirt. Your own God, the greatest ultra kaiju of all time. You want to know why? Because he loves being shy. That's why he's invisible. He only comes out to get freaking hammered like I do.
Favorite kaiju? Does Zamshir count?
Yeah.
That guy, man. Zamshir. Jeez.
Glenda.
So I'm kind of middle of the road because I come from a fine art background where like half of what you do is figure drawing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I actually perfected, not perfected, but got way better at doing figure drawing because I did so much Ultraman stuff. So I'm always going to be biased towards doing the Ultras. And also, I'm more interested in the narrative aspects of Ultras than I am necessarily the cool factor of kaiju. I like drawing kaiju, but I like them for like such different things it doesn't feel fair to compare them.
Yeah.
But given the choice, I'm always going to pick the Ultras just because I care about the more characters. He doesn't count as a kaiju, does he?
No.
Yeah.
For him, no.
Alien.
Yeah. Probably this is gonna be a stupid one, but Alien Bell from Ultra 7. Woo! Rad design that I'm devastated never came back.
Yeah.
Please.
Other questions?
Also, real quick, I'd like to add Red King is really, really awesome
We all love
too.
Red King.
I also was like torn this morning between wearing my Naranga shirt and my Red King shirt.
Lady in the back. Yes.
This question's for anyone, but out of all the series you've watched, what is one moment that stands out to you the most? Like, what's the most one something that is super meaningful to you?
Can I go?
Yeah.
Ultra 7. Towards the end of the series, there was an episode that literally the Matrix stole the entire plot of this episode. They go to a planet where machines rule the planet. Fourth planet, and they kill humans for sport. And at the end of the episode, Dan and I'm going to forget, after they experience that, they come back, Soga, and they're just leaning over a railing and they're just talking about how like they just threw human life away. Like I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah, maybe there's some this to you too. That episode really affected me. Like I still think about it. I highly recommend that episode.
I was gonna say the last episode of the original Ultraman because he fucking died, and it was at 4 years old was not a thing in American television or American shows at all back then. In fact, they usually didn't ever end. So the fact that there was a last episode and the hero dies was like mind blowing to me, and then I realized, oh. Like, that can happen. Like, that prepared me for anime when I got a little older.
Yeah.
The one that immediately jumps to mind is I think episode 13 of Max, which is titled If. Which is, I think, one of the most devastating episodes in all of Ultraman, and it's just, what if there was a kaiju that gave back exactly what you gave to it? So if you are kind to it, it will present back kindness and warmth and empathy. But if you treat it with hostility and assume it will hurt you, it will hit you with exactly what you hit it with. And so it's this awful message of, well, it's a beautiful message, but it's awful in the sense of being awe-inspiring message of like reciprocity and what it looks like when you go into things assuming the worst.
Also, genuinely one of the best child actors I've ever seen in anything. She does an amazing job. I have two, and I'm greedy, so I have a very happy one and a very sad one. And the first one, and I'm just going to say the name of the episode. Have you guys ever seen The Monster Tamer and the Boy? The Monster Tamer and the Boy is the most heartbreaking single story I've ever seen, maybe in anything. It is just, it's devastating. This is Return of Ultraman. In episode 38, and it is a friendly alien who has adopted a orphan boy after a disaster, and the xenophobia of people leads to the death of that alien, and it is the only time that Ultraman almost decided not to help, because maybe humanity didn't deserve it. And it is so, like, it genuinely brings tears to my eyes to think about. And the other one, the happy one of my favorites, is Ultraman Mebius, the time that Ultraman 80 reunites with his Steamboat. So many years later. Makes me so happy to think of that.
I didn't watch Ultraman past the age of 8, unfortunately. So I'm gonna go more modern from this year. Yeah, so for Ultraman Rising, the scene that really hit me and brought a tear to my eye was when Rising himself, Ken Sato, and his dad finally defeated, and they reconnected and they did it together. And then it got me so hard. I started crying and my wife was looking at me and it's just like, oh no.
real quick, I need to add, real quick, I need to add the two-parter in the original series with the Monster Prince Gamora. Only because it blew my mind at 4 years old that Ultraman was gonna have a two-parter. And it pretty much like chopped the monster like in half and he was still alive and you know, all that. Also, Gamora, dude, he's the coolest!
That is true, that is true. And of course, if you know me, you know that the most epic thing to ever happen in my childhood was Ultra 7 facing King Joe.
Yeah.
That's when everything leveled up for me, and I was locked into this whole tokusatsu thing. So thank you. Final slide, do we have Anthony back there? It's okay. So we just want to plug what's going on for the rest of the day. So tell everybody what's happening.
Well, coming up, so stick around. We have our panel talking about Ultraman Zero. And all the cool things he's done and all the cool things he's inspired. Then after that, we've got our scavenger hunt going on all day. So go and start at the ticket desk and we'll collect 5 promo cards for the Ultraman card game. And if you make it up to the demo desk with all 5 cards, that's up on the 2nd floor by Brooklyn Game Night, you'll win a special prize, which is an adorable little toy of Emmy from Ultraman Rising. And you will also be able to do a demo and just learn to play the game and walk away with a demo then. So there's no reason not to do that. And then at 6:30, we have one of our main events. We are showing Ultraman Zero, Revenge of Belial. For folks, it looks like that is going to be screened in the game room, which is across the courtyard. It's wonderful space. It's going to be a ton of fun. And then after that,
Capcom 2 over there.
they do. What's wrong? And then after that, there is a persistent rumor that Ultraman Zero himself will show up to collect the key to the city, because this is all celebrated. And we're going to allocate about 20 minutes to that for reasons. And then after that, we will have for people who have purchased their tickets, all you wonderful people here, we will have a meet and greet, a photo session where you will be able to take your photo
Your
with Ultraman
bracelet
Zero.
is important for the
It's
meeting.
like Jack's bracelet. You need the Ultra Brilliance bracelet. Yeah, perfect. There you go.
I have a question.
What's up?
Is there gonna be Ultra Galaxy Fight Season 4?
I don't have an answer for you there.
We sure hope so.
It would be
It
nice.
would be nice.
Because at the ending, Absolute Tartarus and the Absoluteans escaped.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. There's a lot of people who haven't seen that. One more question, because we're finishing up here.
Linda, can you let Tartarus off his leash so he can show up again?
No.
And there we go. Good night, everyone.
We'll see you